Yo, it's your boy Casual Rail with the Silent A podcast. And man, we back with another one and a quick one at that. On this episode, man, we're talking about your boy Canelo Saul Alvarez, or should I say Saul Canelo Alvarez, aka King Canelo, king of the 168-pound division. Where is he going for his Cinco de Mayo fight as we stepped into 2025 now? Officially, Happy New Year to all y'all out there. Hope you had a safe one. We're getting back to this boxing talk for this year. And up first, as obviously we just stated, we got Canelo Alvarez. Rumors are flying around that Canelo may be signing to Turkey Al-Sheikh to get a multi-fight deal, 2 to 3 fights in. Starting in 2025 all the way out to 2026 to wrap up his career. As there are also rumors, which may lead to one of our options out here, is your boy Andre Ward getting the deal with Turkey Al-Sheikh as well. Seems kind of far-fetched. We haven't seen it here in stone and in writing yet, but if that is the case, will we finally get that long chase, that long sought after Andre Ward and Canelo Alvarez scrap that we've been waiting to see? Not too sure about that, but right now we're going to talk about some realistic options as we have it, knowing Canelo Alvarez, watching his career, watching how he moves, watching how he gets down. First thing first, we already know he's a businessman, as he said on other interviews. He's strictly about business. He's open to business, which kind of opened up the Turkey Al-Sheikh rumors and talks, as Turkey himself has been rumored to go ahead and start negotiating the Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fight starting in January here. Mid-January, to be specific, was the timeline mentioned in the previous interviews, and try to get that May 2025 scrap going finally between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Now, with that said, let's talk realistically here. From the casual standpoint, we would love to see Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. I believe that's a good, how do you say, a good promo fight, a good scrap. Now, physically, it may be, the odds of, 168-pounder taking on currently a 154-pounder who was formerly the 147 undisputed champ, who knocked off Errol Spence, who was rumored in the past to move up to fight Canelo Alvarez if he got past Terence Crawford as part of one of the former PBC deals when they got a hold of Canelo Alvarez. But what we mean from a good fight, we mean from a entertainment standpoint. Two big names, two pound-for-pound greats right now at their time. Both will be Hall of Famers when they finally decide to hang up the gloves and retire. But is that where it pretty much stops? I think we all kind of seen this in the past, the smaller man moving up multiple weight classes, in this case, another 2 weight class jump. We have not really seen that be too successful outside of all hell King Usyk out there, who took over the heavyweight division, moving up from cruiserweight, taking on them big boys. Although not a 2 weight class jump, that is a big jump because there's no limit as heavyweight, as we know that. Know some giants up there, as he has already knocked off Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. But can Terence Bud Crawford mimic the same magic in these lower weight classes, where you jumped up 2 weight classes to take on not just a fighter, just any fighter, and even just a contender? You're taking on one of the greats in our time right now, one of the top pound for pound fighters in Canelo Saul Alvarez. And I keep saying Canelo Saul Alvarez, but it's Saul Canelo Alvarez. Anyways, jumping up to take on a prime fighter like that, 2 weight classes, a tough task to ask for anybody of any talent and any skill set, especially take on a pound for pound jump like that against another pound for pound fighter. With that said, Terence Crawford is a real one. He wants that fight. He wants that scrap and wants it to happen. And he wants it in May. He actually wanted it last year. That's the primary fight he wanted. But seeing what happened to Madrimov and him in August, where he kind of struggled a little bit, and some people actually thought he lost there with a split decision victory. Maybe that is appetizing to Canelo, because what we do know, that we were hitting on earlier, is following Canelo is, at this stage in his career, he is a businessman. And at this stage in his career, he's following the Floyd blueprint, as we can call it. And what do we mean by that? It's get to the bag with a reasonable threat, meaning fight a top name or a name, even if you make the name, make it look like a threat. Make it an entertaining fight, meaning before we get to the scrap itself, meaning build it up, promote it and everything, make everyone believe that this person can win or not, and get to the bag, put in that work. Clearly people see it's not as a big risk as we think it is. Terence Crawford, in our opinion, kind of falls in that category as not a big risk in the case of physical damage. I don't think Terence Crawford can hurt Canelo. It takes a lot to hurt that man. He's got a solid jaw, solid chin that he's proven time and time again. And Terence Bud Crawford fits right in that category. But the threat here is the skill set of Terence Crawford. Could he implement the Floyd Mayweather game plan where you hit hard enough to keep Canelo honest and then beat him with the skill set? I do think that is something that Canelo is worried about, looking at the skill set of Terence Bud Crawford, how he can switch, but more importantly, how his footwork and head movement is of the best. And Canelo has a tough time with true boxers and those who can move around. So in this standpoint, we can see this as a challenge that Canelo probably does not want to take, because if he loses to the smaller man, obviously there'll be a rematch. You lose and lose twice to the smaller man in this standpoint, people will begin to challenge your boxing skill set, your boxing IQ. And of course, Terence be lifted up as definitely the pound for pound great of our time and of this era. I don't think Canelo wants to risk that, because it was understandable with Floyd getting beat the way he did. Young fighter, just hopping in, just getting his feet wet and got a boxing lesson. But with Terence Bud Crawford at this stage, you're fighting now a man who's 2 weight classes below you, jumped up to your weight class with no clauses, no excuses, no weight draining, no nothing. He jumped up to fight you in your weight class and then outclasses you and beat you. That's a big threat, and a big threat to the brand. But with that said, I believe Canelo will bet on himself. Outside of Terence Bud Crawford, we also have William Skull. There is rumors that Canelo's team has started to approach William Skull to get that fight lined up. That lines right into Canelo's game plan of what he's usually been doing. Get to the bag, get the money with a fighter who has a name, has a title in his division. They're probably going to build him up as a threat, undefeated fighter and can box and punch a little bit, and build it up as a threat to get people to buy in for Cinco de Mayo. We're always going to tune in for Canelo on Cinco de Mayo. I think they're okay with getting satisfactory pay-per-view buys and then build something up big for September, which may be a Terence Crawford. It's because it's clear right now he's not getting Bivol. With Better Beef and Bivol getting it on in February, he's not going to get that rematch. And honestly, I don't think he's going to even get the next fight of the shot at the Undisputed at light heavyweight, because your boy, this is going to be between David Morrell and David Benavidez, who we believe David Benavidez will be the victor there. But David Morrell, Benavidez winner, is supposed to, WBC does some shiesty shit, but supposed to get that shot at the Undisputed champ. With that said, so you got William Skull, Terence Bud Crawford. There is Mbili, who is available, but he's been made a mandatory for another fight or another eliminator fight in the division. But I believe Mbili has a good run here. He's available, good fighter, poses a threat, has some decent power. His issue obviously is stamina. Can he last long against a fighter of Canelo's caliber? And that's about all that we see at this point. 3 options. And there's obvious options of, does Canelo stay with the PBC? Does he go sign with Turki Al-Sheikh? I mean, that's kind of going to lead what happens to him in May for Cinco de Mayo. Obviously, I think the PBC right now is hurting. We will have another video on that. I believe this is the end of the PBC. There's just no way they can continue doing business at the way they are. They are falling behind quickly, especially with the news of Top Rank potentially going over to the Zone here after the end of July this year. If he stays with the PBC, can they afford him? What kind of fights can they get him? Obviously, Benavidez is still there, but it's clear that Canelo doesn't want no parts of David Benavidez, especially if he goes and beats down David Morrell. If he stays, I could see a rematch with Caleb Plant. He came off a nice victory here at the end of the year. And it gets shaky. I honestly don't think he stays with PBC, even though they broke him off some bread. He got to the bank, and I think he's, again, back to business. It's probably going to be done with him. I do believe Canelo, as an independent promoter himself, as an independent contracted fighter, I believe the best business for him lies with Turki Al-Sheikh, going over to the zone, getting some scraps in, especially with Mbili being lined up to potentially move over with Top Rank and going over there at the end of July. Going there and get him a potential fight with Terence Crawford. Get that out the way for Cinco de Mayo. I believe he would be victorious against Terence Crawford. Even though I do believe it'll be a good scrap, a good fight, I do think he'll win on the cards against a Terence Bud Crawford in May. Get that big fight, big classic fight for Cinco de Mayo. You bring out two sides, two big communities, get that going. And then end the year off with a decent fight against Mbili, who will pose a little bit better threat in the terms of power and size, not in skill set. I think Terence Crawford is going to bring the best skill set match up against Canelo outside of David Benavidez. And in case of Benavidez, it's more of the attributes, the size, the length, and his stamina. Based on how Canelo's been moving for 2025 here on the Sound Eight podcast, I don't see him wanting any parts of David Benavidez. If he does, it won't be till September. For Cinco de Mayo, I think it's a clear path, a clear road to either Terence Bud Crawford or William Skull. If I was a betting man and how boxing is moving, I see William Skull getting it. Now, again, if he signs with Turki Al-Sheikh, Turki Al-Sheikh, that's the come and find out place. They making real fights happen over there. And I can see Turki pushing Canelo to go ahead and, hey, take this Terence Bud Crawford fight in May. Let's get this going. And somehow paying David Benavidez to come in September. But let's be realistic. I can see Turki lining up Canelo just to entice him. Maybe pay William Skull, take that William Skull fight in May, and we got Terence Bud Crawford in September. But either way, those are really your two options there. It's a good 50-50. If I was leaning one way or the other, boxing moving the way it is, William Skull, May 2025. Maybe Terence Crawford, September 2025. But hey, it could go either way, especially with Turki in there playing around and throwing that money around. And Canelo says he's open to business, open to fighting, right? So let's see how we get it going. But again, that's our take here. We talked too long on this one. It's your boy, Casrell, with the Sound 8 podcast. Comment below. Let us know what you think. Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, peace.